Some police officers saw something that freaked them out, and they captured it on camera.
It's an image that some people say appears to be a ghost walking around the police station. Nancy Laughlin has the video and talked to the men who shot it.
Cops usually chase thugs and criminals, but sometimes they find themselves up against entities far more terrifying than we can comprehend. From ghostly apparitions and eerie paranormal encounters,
where's it gone? It's magic. It's in the back. It's in the back.
To inexplicable beings that materialize without warning. Get ready for the most chilling moments ever caught by law enforcement. A haunting at the Pali lookout. A spine-chilling tale from Honolulu's own police files. A ghostly encounter at the eerie Pali lookout.
And as she got closer, it appeared to be a lady wearing a white dress.
Corporal Tessa Etewadi recounts a harrowing story shared by her rookie partner, an experience that will leave you questioning what lurks in the shadows. In District 5, officers are tasked with locking the gates at the Pali lookout after dark, a duty no one volunteers for, given the unsettling atmosphere. On one such night, a rookie officer found herself alone, armed only with her courage. She had just locked the first gate and was driving deeper into the lookout when she spotted something unusual. A white figure stood ahead, faintly illuminated by her patrol car's headlights. Tales of ghostly apparitions on the Pali highway flashed through her mind, drivers losing control after encountering a lady in white. Brushing off her unease, she decided to stop and check on the woman. Rolling down her window, the rookie was about to speak when a chill ran through her. Something felt wrong. Glancing into her rearview mirror, she froze. The lady in white was now sitting silently in the back seat of her patrol car. Terrified but recalling her grandmother's advice to stay calm, she spoke softly to the spirit, addressing her as Auntie.
Oh, what are you doing out here, Auntie?
She explained her job, apologized for having nothing to offer, and reassured the woman she couldn't take her to Kailua.
You know, I cannot take you all the way to Kanyohi, to Kailua.
The ghost remained silent, her head bowed as the officer drove through the darkened tunnel. Then, just as an overwhelming sense of peace filled the car, the officer dared to look back again. The back seat was empty. The lady in white had vanished. The Gettysburg Monster. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania is no stranger to eerie stories, but one chilling encounter left even the police rattled. On a cold, moonlit night, officers responded to what they thought was a routine burglary call near the infamous Gettysburg battlefield. What they encountered, however, was far from routine. It was the stuff of nightmares. The call came from a terrified local who reported strange lights and shadowy figures moving near an old barn rumored to be haunted. When officers arrived, the scene was unnervingly quiet, except for the faint sound of what could only be described as labored breathing. Armed with flashlights and a growing sense of unease, they began their search. In the barn's pitch-black interior, the air was heavy and cold, and their footsteps echoed ominously. Suddenly, a guttural growl broke the silence, freezing them in their tracks. A hulking, shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, its glowing eyes piercing through the gloom. Descriptions later painted a creature of terror, taller than any man, with grotesque twisted features and claws that glinted in the flashlight beams. The officers didn't hesitate. Drawing their weapons, they ordered the figure to surrender, but it didn't speak. Instead, it let out an ear-splitting scream and lunged. Chaos erupted as the officers fought to subdue the creature, eventually bringing it down with a net and cuffs. The struggle left the barn in disarray, as if a tornado had torn through. When backup arrived, the officers stood guard over their catch, still shaken. As daylight broke, the creature was revealed to be a man in an elaborate costume, claiming to be a ghost hunter conducting research. But for those brief, terrifying moments, the officers were certain they'd come face to face with something not of this world, a glimpse of Gettysburg's darker, supernatural side. Ghostly encounter or clever hoax? A spine-chilling video has taken the internet by storm, showcasing a security guard allegedly conversing with a ghost before fleeing in terror. The eerie footage, shared on TikTok, claims to have captured the unsettling incident at a building in Houston, Texas. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary scene. The guard is seen standing in a hallway, appearing to chat with someone. However, the twist lies in the fact that no one else is visible in the footage. A dispatcher, monitoring the situation remotely, radios the guard and curiously asks, "Who are you talking to?" The guard's response is unsettling. He says he's speaking to a woman named Miss Abigail.
Yes, sir. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to a lady. I saw her walking by the store, and she said she's looking for Mr. Griffin. Her name is Miss Abigail.
Who wants to meet someone named Mr. Griffin. At this point, the dispatcher delivers a spine-tingling revelation. Miss Abigail died 2 years ago. The guard, visibly shaken, stammers, "You mean you can't see the person I'm talking to?" The dispatcher confirms, "There's nobody in front of you. At all."
Miss Abigail she died 2 years ago.
You mean you can't see the person I'm talking to?
No, there's nobody in front of you. At all.
Moments later, panic takes over, and the guard retreats in fear, pointing at what he believes to be a ghost before sprinting away. Naturally, the footage has sparked fierce debate online. Some viewers argue it's an authentic paranormal encounter, marveling at the guard's reactions and the eerie timing of the conversation. Supporters of the supernatural narrative see it as undeniable proof of ghosts, or at least a ghost with unfinished business. On the other hand, skeptics are poking holes in the story. Many claim the dispatcher's tone is too rehearsed, likening it to a low-budget horror script. Others suggest the scene might have been staged entirely, possibly using pre-recorded security footage and creative editing to spin a spooky tale. Ghostly gym equipment. It was a quiet night in Kashiram Park, Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh, when locals spotted something that sent shivers down their spines. In the dead of night, outdoor gym equipment, specifically a shoulder press machine, seemed to come alive, moving up and down with no human in sight. Alarmed by this seemingly paranormal activity, residents called the police, convinced they had a ghostly gym enthusiast on their hands. Officers arrived at the scene on June 11th, ready to confront the unknown. Cameras in hand, they filmed the bizarre spectacle as the machine noisily clanked up and down, defying logic, or so it seemed. Was this a poltergeist determined to get in some midnight reps? The gathered officers, equal parts confused and intrigued, watched the mysterious workout session unfold. But as the footage continued, the machine began to slow down. The dramatic banging noises turned into faint creaks, and the supernatural atmosphere started to wane. What at first appeared to be the handiwork of a ghost with an unusual fitness regimen turned out to be something far less spine-tingling: a prank. Investigations revealed that mischievous individuals had applied copious amounts of grease to the machine's moving parts. A small push had been enough to set the equipment in motion, creating the illusion of supernatural activity. The grease ensured the machine kept moving for a while, but as the momentum waned, so did the eerie illusion. A local source summed up the prank succinctly: the miscreants greased the machine and gave it a gentle push. That's all it took for the ghostly workout to begin. In hindsight, the situation seems more amusing than terrifying. What initially looked like a scene from a horror movie turned out to be a case of creative mischief. While the officers may have been disappointed not to catch a ghost in action, at least the mystery was solved without the need for Ghostbusters. Graveyard patrol. Gone wrong. A scream to remember. A video of 2 police officers patrolling a graveyard in the dead of night is sweeping social media, and not for any routine heroics. No, this patrol didn't involve issuing tickets or chasing criminals. Instead, it ended with the officers running for their lives after an encounter straight out of a horror movie. If Halloween had a sequel, these cops just starred in it. The officers, armed and presumably seasoned in their line of work, were making their rounds in a seemingly deserted graveyard. It was supposed to be a quiet shift, but fate had other plans. Out of nowhere, the eerie stillness was broken by a sound so terrifying that even horror directors would struggle to replicate it. It wasn't just a scream. It was a gut-wrenching, soul-shaking shriek that seemed to come from the depths of something unholy. Here's where things took a turn from professional to primal. The officers, who likely had years of training to prepare for high-stakes situations, did what no one expected. They bolted. Not a casual jog, not a tactical retreat. This was full throttle, adrenaline-fueled sprinting. Their reaction wasn't just fear, it was a survival instinct, pure and raw. Forget backup calls. If they had time to call their dispatcher, it was probably just sobbing interspersed with panicked breaths. Now, the source of the scream is where things get even more bizarre. Some claim it could have been a cougar, known for their chilling, human-like cries. But the video casts serious doubt on this explanation. The scream didn't quite fit the natural, albeit terrifying sounds of a mountain lion. Instead, it had an almost human quality, or more disturbingly, something that used to be human. Ghostly guest. If you saw something strange on your security camera, what would you do? Most of us would share it online, hoping for answers. And that's exactly what one Reddit user did, sparking a flurry of speculation and debate. The footage, captured at 1:35 a.m., shows a mysterious mist forming in the kitchen. The poster explained, "This mist was dense enough to trigger my camera. Too thick for a vape. Nobody smokes in the house, and no smoke alarms went off." As if straight out of a horror movie, the mist seems to swirl, taking on a shape before vanishing into thin air. Naturally, the internet had plenty to say. One user joked, "Sure, it's nothing. Go back to sleep. What could possibly go wrong?" Another chimed in, "I'd usually say it's a bug, but the way it moves and dissipates isn't bug-like at all." Some, however, took a darker view. "That's likely a demon," claimed one commenter. "They travel in black smoke when not possessing something." Another user agreed, noting, "Toward the end, it looks like it forms a human shape, left arm, shoulder, and all. Great catch." Not everyone was ready to call Ghostbusters, though. A skeptic proposed, "Looks like a droplet of water hit the lens and evaporated. Could even be an automatic air freshener." Others suggested lens flares from headlights or light reflecting off a window. "It's not mist, it's light," insisted one commenter. "Check for a reflective surface off camera." While this Reddit mystery captured the imagination, it's not the first time a supposed ghost has been caught on camera. In New Hampshire, CCTV at the Library Restaurant, known for its ghostly reputation, showed a similar mist gliding across the screen. This time, the movement even triggered the building's indoor motion detectors, prompting police to investigate. Locals whispered about the lady in white, rumored to haunt the restaurant's halls for years, though no evidence has ever confirmed her presence. Subscriber pick. Back in 2004, a group of police officers were responding to a call in a small-town neighborhood when they came across something their minds couldn't fathom. Neighbors had reported hearing weird howls from the abandoned house on the street, so when the officers went in to check, they found this demonic alien-looking creature. Good thing one of the officers was filming the ordeal, or no one would have believed what they witnessed. Unfortunately, the terrifying creature made a break for it and vanished in the surrounding woods. Would you have chased after it? We surely would not have. A mountain house mystery. A call from dispatch came in. A woman needed to be taken to a psychiatric center. Routine enough, right? But for this officer, it turned into anything but ordinary. The house was perched on a lonely mountain, the kind of place where shadows seem to stretch longer than usual. When the officer and his team arrived, an elderly man greeted them, his expression a mixture of exhaustion and fear. His wife, he explained, was inside. Her behavior had become unrecognizable. The officer describes the unsettling scene that unfolded. Inside the dimly lit house, the woman was pacing frantically, her disheveled hair matted with sweat, her breath coming in sharp, uneven gasps. Blood smeared the floor, a haunting detail that hinted at her agitation. Her movements were erratic, her body jerking as if battling something unseen. The tension in the air was palpable, thick enough to feel on the skin. As the team observed her, the family began sharing details that added layers of unease. The son, clearly shaken, described his mother's nightly transformations. "It's like she isn't herself," he said, showing them protective symbols scattered around the house, charms and carvings meant to ward off evil. His words painted a picture of a family desperate to understand and contain something they couldn't explain. The officer tried to piece together her story. The family spoke of her past, but their answers were vague and cryptic, as though they feared saying too much. Whispers of a mysterious background only deepened the officer's sense that this was no ordinary psychiatric case. Who was she, really? And why did her presence feel so wrong? Eventually, the team managed to secure the woman, her resistance as fierce as her earlier behavior. She was transported to the psychiatric center, but the experience left a mark on everyone involved. The officer couldn't shake the image of her wide, unblinking eyes or the guttural sounds she made as they left the house. Even after the incident, questions lingered. Was she merely suffering from a mental health crisis, or was there something more sinister at play? The protective symbols, the family's hushed tones, and the eerie atmosphere of the mountain house, everything seemed to hint at a story untold. Creepy clown chaos. The eerie trend of creepy clown sightings has swept across the United States like a bizarre horror film come to life. Reports of clowns lurking in the shadows, sometimes trying to lure children into the woods with money, have flooded police stations. This isn't your average circus act. It's more like a nightmare with a red nose. The phenomenon spans at least 6 states, including Georgia, where 2 boys waiting for their school bus fled in terror after spotting a sinister figure. One boy, 12-year-old Cameron Frales, described to WRDW News seeing a man dressed in all black, wearing a clown mask and a red wig. Meanwhile, in nearby Aiken County, South Carolina, police scanners caught an unusual report of a clown in a red and yellow suit with a mask, shining a green laser into windows. If this sounds like an elaborate prank, authorities aren't laughing. The clowning around needs to stop, declared Greenville, South Carolina Police Chief Ken Miller. He emphasized that the behavior, while ridiculous, is still illegal and disruptive to communities. Police in New Jersey also chimed in, using humor to drive the point home. Their Facebook post featured a creepy clown photo with the caption, "For all the coulrophobics out there, we apologize, but it was necessary. If all criminals wore clown costumes, our jobs would be a lot easier." The chaos has created an unusual clash of perspectives. Legitimate clown performers are outraged, feeling unfairly lumped in with pop culture's frightening depictions, such as Pennywise from Stephen King's IT or the infamous serial killer John Wayne Gacy, who performed as an amateur clown. These performers already struggle against public fear, and now their livelihoods are at risk. Invisible passengers. On Halifax Road in Bradford, West Yorkshire Police's Steerside Enforcement Team pulled over a Ford vehicle for what seemed like a routine traffic violation. The driver had failed to wear their seatbelt, a safety breach that can lead to hefty fines. But the scene quickly turned more bizarre when officers peered inside the car. What did they find? A vehicle full of invisible passengers. Yes, you read that right. While the driver neglected their seatbelt, every other seatbelt in the car was fastened, as if unseen occupants were sitting upright, safety conscious, and ready for a smooth ride. Sharing a photo of the oddly buckled seatbelts, police added a dash of humor, noting the car was full of invisible passengers all wearing theirs. The unusual discovery may have caused some chuckles, but the situation turned serious once officers dug deeper. They discovered the driver had a revoked license, making their presence on the road a much bigger concern. With no legal right to operate the vehicle, the driver's journey was cut short. The Ford was promptly seized, and the driver was reported for further legal action. This encounter is a prime example of how the Steerside Enforcement Team works diligently to keep roads safe. Launched in 2016, the initiative has targeted road-related crimes, from careless driving to more serious offenses like this one. Their work is vital in ensuring that traffic laws are upheld, not just for the driver's safety, but for everyone on the road. The team's humor about the invisible passengers might give us a laugh, but it also underscores a serious message. While the imaginary occupants wore seatbelts, the driver, a real and very visible person, failed to follow basic safety rules. The Serbian Dancing Lady. The legend of the Serbian Dancing Lady took a dramatic turn when police officers reportedly apprehended the mysterious figure after years of fear and speculation. This story, blending eerie folklore with modern suspense, adds another chilling chapter to her infamous tale. The events unfolded late one foggy night in a quiet Serbian neighborhood. Officer Milan Petrovic, a seasoned police officer known for his no-nonsense approach, had been assigned to investigate recent reports of a disturbing figure haunting the area. Witnesses described a woman who danced erratically under the pale moonlight, chanting incomprehensible phrases. For weeks, the locals had been too terrified to venture outside after dark, claiming the woman's presence brought misfortune. Milan initially dismissed the reports as superstitions fueled by viral TikTok videos. However, as the complaints escalated, the officer decided to patrol the streets himself. Armed with a flashlight, he roamed the dimly lit roads, his footsteps echoing in the stillness. Suddenly, he heard faint music playing in the distance, soft yet unnerving. Following the sound, he turned a corner and froze. There she was, the Serbian dancing lady, swaying to an invisible rhythm in the middle of the road. Her movements were both graceful and grotesque, as if every joint in her body moved independently. Her long, tattered dress fluttered in the night breeze, and her face was obscured by the shadows. Milan felt a shiver run down his spine but steadied himself. As he approached, the woman stopped abruptly and turned her head toward him. Her eyes, cold and piercing, locked onto his. Before he could speak, she shrieked, "You cannot stop me! I am the ambassador of death!" Then, without warning, she lunged at him, moving unnaturally fast. Milan, however, was prepared. He swiftly sidestepped and called for backup while keeping his flashlight trained on her. The light seemed to disorient her, causing her to stagger. Minutes later, additional officers arrived, surrounding the woman. She resisted fiercely, screaming incoherent threats and flailing her arms like a puppet on strings. It took 3 officers to subdue her. When they finally restrained her, the woman whispered chillingly, "You've only delayed the ritual." Her cryptic words left everyone uneasy. Despite her arrest, rumors persist that the true Serbian dancing lady remains at large, and the captured figure was merely an imposter. To this day, skeptics and believers debate whether this woman was the real source of the legend or just someone exploiting the myth. Did aliens crash land in Las Vegas? Imagine an ordinary night in Las Vegas turning into something straight out of a sci-fi thriller. In April 2023, teenager Angel Kenmore claimed his backyard became the landing site for 2 aliens using a cloaking device to avoid detection. The story, which sounds like a plot twist from the X-Files, sparked intense curiosity, skepticism, and even a bit of humor. Kenmore's footage, uploaded to YouTube, initially seemed uneventful. However, he insisted it revealed a tall, skinny, lengthy creature with a gray-greenish color. Describing the creature as 8 to 10 feet tall and unnervingly thin, Kenmore recalled how he and his family panicked when his father confirmed seeing the same figure. "He told me to go inside the house. At this point, we were all freaking out," Kenmore said, narrating the surreal encounter. Enter crime scene reconstruction analyst Scott Roeder and journalist Jim Quirk, who later took a closer look at the footage. Using artificial intelligence, they analyzed the video frame by frame, claiming it showed 2 beings employing some kind of cloaking device to stay hidden. Roeder pointed to a blurry shadow in the footage, theorizing it could be an alien's head concealed by a smoky filter. Adding another layer of intrigue, the duo highlighted a glowing green light Kenmore had seen falling from the sky just before the encounter. This light, also captured on police body camera footage, descended at a steep trajectory and reportedly emitted an oscillating mechanical sound under infrared analysis. Roeder suggested the light might have been linked to an emergency landing or repair effort by the supposed aliens. While skeptics might dismiss the story as a prank or overactive imagination, Roeder and Quirk are convinced the evidence points to something extraordinary. "This is bigger than Las Vegas," Quirk declared. "It shows we are not alone." We hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more amazing stories.